Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the videos. Another paid request, this time from Tomas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the summer of '84, which came out around 2018. Now, I have seen this film before. I remember when I first watched it, I was very angry, pissed off, aggravated at it, and I hated the film. I'm still not a fan of the film. I can appreciate what the director and writers were doing, though. It's just not my cup of tea. That's the way I would put it. Because the film, first off, it takes place in 1984 in Oregon, where you have these four friends with the typical tropes. You have the lead kid, who of course has the hot babysitter across the road, who then they start to like each other. You have the overweight kid, you have the kind of rebellious kid, and you have the nerdy kid with glasses. And most of their dialogues talk about women or "I fucked your mom" jokes, which that I know there are kids that talk like that. That got annoying real fast, got old real fast, and a lot of references to the '80s. Either they're discussing about Return of the Jedi's ending, or they go to a place and there's Polybius, the arcade machine. This was definitely inspired by the success of Stranger Things. Easily. So it's one of those movies where you kind of find out there's a serial killer on the loose. I'm trying to remember what was he called? The Cape May Slayer, who kills teenagers, and the lead kid thinks that it's his neighbor, Mr. Mackey. Isn't that a teacher in South Park, Mr. Mackey? It does. It's not that. Who also happens to be a cop. Now the film, and yeah, I live on a farm. I live in the middle of nowhere, so you don't really have a lot of background noise, roosters, things of that nature. This is how it is. If you wonder what the hell is that, that's it's all background noise. But I don't think it's that bad look of a movie cinematography wise. I do like the music, but I'm a sucker for synthesizer music. I am. I'm a sucker for that. I love synthesizer music. It features a good score. I don't think the acting on the kids are bad. I don't. But okay, I gotta go into spoilers. I don't have to, I want to, so there you go. The first 2/3 of the movie, I thought was rather dull. I thought it was rather dull, but kind of harmless. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I really give a shit about these kids. The acting's not bad, but it's just, I don't find them that interesting to hang around with. You get hints of their issues at home, but they're only hints. Like the overweight kid, he tries to take care of his mom, but we only have like one scene of that. Nothing else is really developed of that. The rebellious kid, maybe something's going on at home, but you barely get hints of that. And the rebellious kid, again, half his dialogue is telling the overweight kid, "I fucked your mom" type of jokes, and the overweight kid going, "Stop saying that." Or talk about women and women. Hey, I love talking about women as well, but it's like over and over again, got boring real quick. Okay, like one line of dialogue. They're talking about the babysitter next door or across the street, and they're saying, "I'd trade both my nuts to have that view." Yeah, but if you trade your nuts like that, then you wouldn't do anything when the time is right. Or you have dialogue like, if there's dead bodies in here, I'm totally going to ship my Kelvins. So that's the thing, I didn't really give a shit about these characters, really. And the mystery is dull because there is no mystery, because they tell you 5 minutes in who the killer is. Because within 5 minutes, the lead kid is helping Mr. Mackey out, and they go into the death basement. Clearly a death basement. There's a fucking door with a padlock on it, and the guy with the way he looked, you tell he looks like a fucking serial killer. And there's no other red herrings. There's no other people to look at and go, maybe it's him, maybe it's him. So it's not a mystery. It's like, no, we already know who the killer is within 5 minutes, and lo and behold, it is. And to be honest, parts of this film remind me of Disturbia, and I like Disturbia a lot more with Shia LaBeouf. I like Shia LaBeouf. I liked his character. I like the idea of him being trapped in the home because of the thing around his ankle, so he can't go too far. And yeah, that's not really a mystery either, but I didn't really think it was more of a mystery. It was more like Rear Window, as wasn't trying to placate with 80s nostalgia like this film is. And also, the tone is more consistent Disturbia compared to this, which I'll get to that in a minute. But it just, for the good chunk of the film, it's just, okay, they're talking in their treehouse. The lead kid sees, there's a milk carton, there's a missing kid. He says, wait, that kid I saw in Matty's house. They're watching some more. Follows the guy, follows his routine, realizes there's shovels, there's a storage unit, there's a bloody shirt. Of course, the lead tells his parents they don't believe in him. I recognize the dad, the guy who plays the lead kid's dad. He was on the TV show Monk. He was the cop that was always with Ted Levine. Like, Ted Levine was the older, then this guy was the younger cop. And they would always follow Monk, Tony Shalhoub's character, around. That's the guy who's the father in this. I forget the actor's name, but I recognize him. You should go hire Monk. Go get Monk, he'll solve the case. I didn't really buy the babysitter having a crush on the lead kid. Also, it's a bit weird because she's like much older. She's like 20-some. And she's like hitting on like a 15-year-old kid? As someone would say, imagine that was a 20-year-old guy hitting on a 15-year-old girl. Exactly. You'd be like, eee. But, you know. Granted, if I was a 15-year-old kid and she was hitting on me, I would say yes, so there you go. But I didn't really buy their chemistry, like her loving this kid that much. So really, it's just a dull affair where there's just not much happening. Like I said, there's no suspense or mystery because you know who it is. Is this them trying to catch up to what we, the audience, know? I mean, you add as much 80s aesthetic in terms of they reference this, they reference this. Later, at the end of the film, there's a Raiden Bush sign. Or, you know, the synth music, but it's not much happening on screen. That's why it's hard to do a review, just like, what am I going to talk about? Okay, they have the song Cruel Summer. Cruel Summer. Although, it's like, we can afford one 80s song. Because it's not littered with tons of 80s songs. It's like the one song I remember. So it's like, we have the budget for one song, pick that one. And the title fits for the third act of the movie. To super spoilers, what happens is they tell the parents don't believe in him, the lead kid gets grounded, there's this festival happening, the lead kid is adamant that something's going on. So the other friends seem like they don't want to help. So the overweight kid and the babysitter go with the lead kid to Matty's house while the other two are supposed to be watching. But the other two, the rebel and the nerd kid, they believe Matty's innocent. And they fucking abandon it. They fucking abandon this shit. They abandon their friends. They don't try to talk to them more. They don't try to stop them. They just abandon them and walk away. So those characters can eat a dick. Can fuck off. Absolutely hated those characters from then on. Especially when you get to what happens. Because it's your fault. Part of it is your fucking fault, two of you. It is really their fault. I'll get to that in a few minutes. While the other three go into the house, they go in the basement, they open up the door, they find a body that was I guess what's the word, desecrated. They find a body in the basement that you tell was in the middle, getting like melted and stuff, and they find another victim who's alive. They're able to get the footage to the cops. Your son helped save this one kid. Your son's a hero. Things are fine and dandy. And this is what I'm saying with at the beginning of the video. I did what the directors and writers were doing to lead you into it's lulling you into a false sense of security. This lull of it's going to be like the Goonies or the Monster Squad, and maybe they'll get close with the killer, but they'll make it. No, it gets very, very, very dark in the last 15 minutes. Because as the directors put it, it's about the death of innocence. So I get that they try to do something different and really take the rug pull the rug off of the feet of the audience. Pull the rug from under them, if I could learn to say that fucking phrase right. Pull the rug from out of the audience. Because the lead kid and the overweight kid get kidnapped. I forget what fucking island or where the hell the killer... Who somehow the killer was hiding in the fucking attic of the lead kid's house. You tell me nobody fucking decided to check... Okay. And then the killer's like, I'm going to hunt you guys down. Gets the fat kid, slits his throat, kills him. Gets the lead kid and says, I want to kill you. I so badly want to kill you, but I don't let you live because I want you paranoid for the rest of your life. Wondering if today's the day you're going to meet me again. And one day, you're going to realize, yep, today's the day. And trust me, I will come back for you someday. So they make the kid in fear for the rest of his life, and he walks off. And then the beginning of the film was his bicycle ride. It ends with his bicycle ride, but of course a much different note, much different mood, much different tone. Where his babysitter he liked, she was going to move away with her parents, and she does. His friend who died, the house is taped up. His two other buddies, they don't even want to look at him, and they're tearing down their tree house. I'm like, you two have no room to talk. It's your fucking fault. Because think about it, those two kids, and we never did a reaction of those two kids of, oh my god, our friend was right. He was a killer. Oh my god, we abandoned him. We threw our walkie-talkies down. We went home when these three went into the lair of a killer, and they could have died right there, all through them, because of us. And because we were shitheads, and we didn't believe in him, and we just walked away. And you guys were for this whole fucking Hardy Boys look into this killer business too. So you can ignore the lead kid all you want, but it's your fucking fault as well. In fact, more your fault, because if you tailed the cop, you would have followed him, and be like, hey, he's over here. Tell the cops to go over here because he's right here. But you didn't do that. Because you thought you were right when you're absolutely wrong. So it's your fucking fault. It's your goddamn fault. You could tell the killer like you were supposed to. Tell people like you're supposed to. And you didn't. You fucking didn't. You abandoned your friends. Which inadvertently, got your overweight friend killed. And the fact that you wanted to give the cold shoulder to lead kid who almost died, could have died, when he was right and you all were gung-ho about doing this in the first place. You're shit friends, shit people, shit characters. Fuck both of them. The killer should have killed both of them instead. And so even if you're enjoying the film, okay, maybe you like the dark twist, and I know from reading up on it, that's what people said. Even people who didn't like the film, it's like, oh wow, the last 50 minutes were cool, but the rest of the film was dull. Or people really liked it because of the change of tone in the last. To me, because I don't really care about the characters and the rest of the movie was kind of meh, I just watch it again. I'm like, I get what they're going for. It's a ballsy move. It's a creative, different move. I don't know how satisfying it would be for people. But it's such a big tonal shift that it's almost like whiplash. There's almost too much of a tonal shift, if that makes sense. So even if I did like the first hour and change the movie, I wouldn't care for that because it's just not my it's not my cup of tea in terms of ending, in terms of finale, in terms of conclusion. Just not my cup of tea, taste wise. And even watches, I'm like, okay, you go from a very mundane, boring, non-mystery to now a very, very dark, sinister, chilling ending that you could maybe try to be different and ballsy, but it just leaves on purpose, a bad taste in your mouth. On purpose. That's the whole point of it. But then I'm just thinking, well, wait a minute, that guy was in the fucking ad the whole time and no cops decided to check on it? Wait a minute, you know who the killer is, but he's still on the loose. These two buddies want to give the cold shoulder to the lead kid who could have died as well, but you're the two that fucking abandoned them, and it's like there's no course of action. There's no scene where the two kids before the other two are taken. Wait a minute, he was right? Wait, that guy was a killer? Wait, we abandoned them? Wait, we just walked away from them? We left them in danger when they trusted us? There's never that scene or that sequence, so it makes those two characters pieces of trash. So of the four kids, two are pieces of 100% pure grade trash. The overweight kid, he seems like the nicest of the four, but at the same time, other than little dialogue about his mom, that we don't really know much about him. And the lead kid, like I said, the acting's not bad. It just, I don't know, kind of that reaction. I have no strong feelings on that character. So, take that for what you will. So yeah, I'm not really big on the summer of '84. Let's say the first half is very dull and uninteresting, just not much happens, and the third act is very bleak and very much a tonal whiplash, which is his purpose. Again, false sense of security, and then nope, not in this movie. I could get that, I could respect that. Doesn't mean I have to be my cup of tea or like it. So, take that for what you will. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.